Hi Scuba Divers, welcome to Scuba Diving Magazine. I have my hands on the new Shearwater Petrel 3 dive computer, which is the third generation of the tried and tested Petrel. That, put simply, is a large colour screen dive computer for open circuit and closed circuit scuba diving. The biggest standout for the Petrel above the rest of the Shearwater range is in the laser sharp AMOLED screen and the user customizability. The larger body allows for a few different connection choices. This one here, this is the standalone model that any diver could use, but if you dive rebreathers, then there's a Petrel with a Fisher connection, there's a dive can or a 4-pin AK connector option, so you can plug it in and get info from your rebreather onto your Petrel. From the outside, the front glass is toughened aluminosilicate glass. That's tougher than your basic glass or just plastic front, so it's a bit more abrasion and scratch resistant. Surrounding that is a titanium bezel to protect the computer from basic bumps and scrapes. The main body itself is a real tough polymer material that's been milled out and shaped to your wrist and has built-in mounts for the supplied elastic bungee straps. On either side is titanium piezoelectric buttons with user customizable sensitivity, so you can adjust just how much pressure you have to apply to it for it to register a button press, which is quite a nice feature. The battery compartment is easy to access and just change the battery all yourself on the go. It's very, very simple. And the Petrel takes a standard AA sized battery, but of course, the better the battery, the better the functionality, because some functions are limited by battery specs. But the battery cap on the Petrel 3 has a new dual O-ring for a second layer of security compared to the previous version. The 2.6-inch AMOLED screen is larger and has a better contrast and brightness compared to competitors, so you can have more information on the same screen and still read everything very, very crisp and clear. Underneath that, you have strong vibration alert system on the inside to alert you, but not the entire dive site when the computer wants to get your attention. Wireless air integration lets you connect to up to 4 wireless air transmitters and have multiple gas displays on the same screen at the same time, which is a very useful feature if you're diving multiple stages. And they're permanent pairing transmitters as well. So once you've entered the transmitter's serial number, they're always talking to one another, so you don't have to repair it at the beginning of every dive. Bluetooth on the inside as well, so you can connect to a smartphone app or a computer to download your dives, transfer data, and actually update the firmware of the Petrel 3 from time to time as Shearwater release updates. The tough construction means that the Petrel is rated down to 290 meters, so deeper than the Perdix and the Terric. This is for real, like, serious deep diving. Overall, the Perdix measures 83 millimeters wide, 75.5 millimeters long, and 39 millimeters deep at the deepest part, so it does have a good profile on your wrist, but it's not trim weight on your wrist weighing you down or creating too much drag. The computer itself weighs in at 266 grams, and it's about as bulky as an analog compass is going to get. It might be a bit wider, I guess, but you don't need that compass anymore because the Petrel 3 has a built-in 3-axis tilt compensated digital compass to keep you swimming in the correct direction. Multiple diving modes, from traditional air and nitrox in recreational mode to open circuit technical diving mode that has multi-gas trimix. You also have fixed PPO2 closed circuit mode with a quick switch to bail out during the dive, so you don't have to fiddle too much with your computer if you ever do need to bail out. And all of these are on the Bielmann algorithm with adjustable gradient factors with an optional VPMB or DCIEM algorithm if you want to swap over to those. You can input 5 gas mixes in total and turn them on and off sort of for your dives, and the Petrel 3 gives you full control of the exact oxygen and helium mix, so you can put in exactly what you're diving in. You're not restricted in any way. And the final mode is gauge mode, where the Petrel 3 will act like a depth gauge and a bottom timer, but it won't monitor your decompression or tell you off. So let's see how it arrives and the box that it comes in. this is how it arrives. A stereotypical Shearwater EVA case with a cardboard sleeve over it. There is some information on the inside. It's like a quick start guide, and you've got serial number and stuff on the back next to the barcode. The EVA case, you can reuse this for whatever you need. Zippered, double zipper opening, and you get a small little D-ring, so you can clip things off onto that just to stop it from moving around inside of your bag. On the inside, a small book of words, instruction manual, but there will be a digital version as well that you can download from their website. The dive computer itself, which I'll take a closer look at later, it comes with the straps already fitted, but they're like velcroed down to keep them nice and neat, and a little screen protector with the display on. Obviously, take that off before the dive. In the main compartment, a pair of stickers, so you can represent, and a little attention notification. This dive computer works best with a 1.5 volt lithium battery, and yeah, it just goes on to say try and use good batteries, because the battery itself limits some of the functionality. And you also have a little zippered mesh section up at the top. If I just open that up, you have a quality control checklist to make sure that the computer is working properly, a biodegradable bag with a carabiner, a battery compartment tool, a pair of spare O-rings, and product information card on the inside of that. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the dive computer itself. Using the Petrel is very intuitive. Actually, on the screen it's going to spell out what each of those two buttons are going to do. To activate it, you just press both buttons at the same time and you'll hear that vibration alert just to tell you that that's activated. You can turn that off if you don't want it. And here we have the main screen, and you have two different colors. Comes with this sort of green digits for the main information. Green, the human eye is quite good at picking up different like hues of green, so it gives it a better contrast than just white on black, believe it or not. It just makes it a bit easier for you to spot. The blue, you can adjust that color. You can adjust this this green if you want to. I think you can swap that over for red, but the titles, you can change them for quite a few different colors, so you can personalize it to your heart's content. Now, the right hand button is going to cycle through just auxiliary information. The left button starts you off into the menu. So I'm going to start off pressing the right hand button, and it just cycles through. So it just gives you some basic information. There's your digital compass to tell you that you're heading in the right direction, and you can set bearings on that so that it tells you which direction to turn. Just more auxiliary information about how the dive computer is set up, and information on the dive. If I keep going through, comes back to like the main screen. Hitting that button, the first menu item is turn off, so that's quite handy. So to save battery power, you can just quickly switch it off, but then keep going through. You can select the gases for the dive setup, your logbook, and then into system setup. So here we can really see how it tells you which function each of those buttons has. So if you want to go on to the next one, or if you want to edit mode setup, you pick and choose. So you can change the salinity or the diving mode on this one. If I wanted to, I'd go into edit and then go through and change those. Cycling through, Bjorman, ZHL 16C gradient factor algorithm, your gradient factors there, and just more information. Cycle through wireless air integration. So if you want to set up a wireless air transmitter, that's where you type in the serial number, so that's so that they pair up. The center row, you can change the information that displays on that center row. Right now it's just got your partial pressure, but if you wanted to, you edit, and then in this space here, right now it's set to none, but I'm going to change that to your maximum depth, your average depth, PPO2 again, your maximum. There's just so many different pieces of information that you can set up in here, so you can really personalize the dive computer to your heart's content and have the information that you want where you want it. I'm just going to leave it on none, just hit save, and then next. So you can pick and choose what information goes in which row, and then continue on, open circuit gases, so you can set up your either the mixes that you have on that particular dive if you're diving with multiple gases, or if you have several standard mixes, you always dive on 30% or something, you can set those up and switch them on and off as you need them. Continue on, alerts, so a depth alert if you go below a certain depth, dive time, elapsed dive time, no decompression limits. There's also, if you did activate that wireless air integration, a low tank pressure. So lots of alerts that you can set up, and the vibration display, metric, imperial, the brightness, auto brightness, so it adjusts if you go into an overhead environment, everything starts to get really dark, or you're on a night dive, it just saves a bit of battery power. Keep going through, digital compass, so you can recalibrate that if you want to. System setup. Advanced configuration, this is where you can change the colors if you want to change your colors. So just quickly going into advanced configuration. So yeah, edit that one. Main color, you get the choice of green or red, and then back to green. But with the title color, right now it's set to cyan, but you can change that through to whatever color you fancy in this list, and yeah, really personalize it to whatever you want. So if you wanted a darker blue or gray or white, let's just save it to white. To save, cycle through, hit done, and then you can see they've changed from that cyan blue to a white, so you can personalize it a bit more. So who's the Petrel 3 for? Petrel is for serious divers, proper deep and extended dives. You'll see it in a lot of technical divers and cave explorers. You'll often see them wearing Petrels, and just the diver who wants the best quality and largest color screen on their wrist, because of that AMOLED screen. Is one of the best screens out there at the moment. That and the depth rating are really what stands it above the little brother, the Perdix. Petrel does have both recreational and technical diving mode, so if you're willing, it could actually be your first and only dive computer. But its real target is really going to be serious scuba divers, deep divers. Recreational mode can get you used to the user interface. If it's your first dive computer, gets used to the layout of the dive computer whilst keeping some of the confusing or the intimidating diving settings hidden away until you need them as you progress, and then you flick it into technical diving mode, you unlock some things, and yeah, as you progress through your diving career. It is a chunky dive computer. There's no getting away from that, especially when you compare it to that Perdix. The size of it may not be for some scuba divers who prefer a sleeker, rounded platform, but in the water, the Petrel is more focused on performance as opposed to looks. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not ridiculously larger than the Perdix, and as I said at the beginning, when you compare it to an analog compass, it's not that much more proud, or even proud compared to an analog compass. But the Petrel 3 is a premium dive computer. It does cost a fair amount, and it's more than the Perdix, and you're really paying for that large AMOLED screen, and of course the Shearwater user interface and all of their tried and tested experience that they put into the Petrel. As I said, the screen really is what stands this apart from other dive computers, which is going to have the best contrast ratio so that the colors don't bleed into one another, so you get real crisp, nice, clean colors. But let me know down in the comments below what you think about the Shearwater Petrel 3. I like it. It is more aimed at the real advanced technical divers, as much as, yeah, it could be your first ever dive computer. You've got recreational dive mode in there, and it is pretty easy to navigate. So it could be your first ever dive computer, but it's really got everything. It's just packed full of all of the information and all of the features that you can need for a technical dive computer. That's really what it's aimed for. But I'm going to pop a link up here in the corner that links to one of our affiliates so that you can check out the Petrel 3 and buy it from them. Otherwise, please like this video and subscribe to the Scuba Diving Magazine channel. And if you have any questions about the Petrel 3 or anything else, by all means, pop them down in the comments section under this video. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.